Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am thrilled today to have Mr. Brian Mahoney here, Senior Director at Accolade of Government Solutions. He's a registered nurse, and I'm excited because what we're here to talk about is something that's very close to Brian and I. And it's kicking off. April is Autism Awareness Month, and so this is something that's very close to the work that Brian does, and it's very close to something that I've been a part of for years. So Brian, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm going to turn it over to you and let you introduce yourself and what you do.
Thanks, Danielle. Hi, everybody. Really excited to be here with you today and tell you a little bit about what we're doing here at Accolade. Um, as you said, my name is Brian Mahoney. I've been blessed to be a part of the Accolade family for the past 11 years. Um, we've been supporting families across the US in their healthcare journey. Um, I just really felt drawn to the mission of making healthcare easier, just one person at a time, and taking that fragmented system and pulling it all together for our members so they can live their healthiest lives. But over the past 4 years, we've been honored to support the Defense Health Agency and TRICARE beneficiaries. Most recently, we've been doing that through the Autism Care Demonstration. Uh, so, what do I do in my day to day? I really partner with our leadership teams at our managed care support contractors to make sure that we're staying contractually compliant and making sure that we're delivering that wow experience for our beneficiaries. And then working directly with our frontline care teams to make sure that we're executing flawlessly and that our beneficiaries are having the experience that we hope that they can have.
It's an incredible program, and if Accolade sounds familiar to you guys, it's because we had the CEO Rajiv Singh on a few weeks ago, and he's setting the higher level stage for what Accolade does and what the mission is. And so, incredibly grateful Brian is here and is walking us through this program and what Accolade does and what his side of government solutions takes care of this population on a daily basis. But Brian would just love to get a beginning of the story to where we are now of how Accolade first got involved with this autism demonstration and this population. And
Yeah, it's a great story, and I've been blessed to be a part of it. We started our support for the Autism Care Demonstration's Western region, it is divided between two contractors, East and West. So Accolade's proud to support the Western region, and we started that back in 2021. Um, and this aligned with kind of a change in the way the Autism Care Demonstration worked, where they added the role of an autism service navigator. Um, and for those of you who know Accolade, we're founded in healthcare advocacy, right? Helping our members navigate the healthcare system, coordinating care, helping families with their resources, and make sure that they make the best decisions for their loved ones. So the beautiful part is when the Autism Service Navigator was added to the Autism Care Demonstration, the core of the role of the ASN, the Autism Navigator, was so similar to what Accolade believes in and what our Accolade nurses do on a day-to-day basis. Um, so it just felt like a match made in heaven for Accolade to bring the skills that we already had in to support our military families, and we have been honored to do that since. But we start our support right at the very beginning of their entrance into the program. Um, and this is when our team really spends time just listening to the unique needs of the family. What's their situation they're going through? And then we tailor that support to whatever their needs are. As you know, autism is a spectrum disorder, so it affects every individual differently in different severities. So we need to tailor our support to match them and make sure that we're meeting their needs. So it is not a one kind of cookie cutter program. We make sure that we are able to kind of like use not only our technology, but our personal skills to kind of flex to meet the various needs of all the individuals. And we just pride ourselves in making sure that we have a nice, supportive, inclusive environment that promotes the acceptance and understanding for our families, but also gives them a place to come back to so they can constantly feel supported and know that no matter what question they have, they can always come to us and we can either answer that question for them, take that work off, or we can get them to the right resource.
I just want to reiterate a couple points there, and the fact that you don't just take care of the child or the adult with autism, you are taking care of the entire family. You are making sure that from parents to younger or older siblings. Everybody is taken care of. And I think that is incredibly important because as we've been able to see in this with kids with autism, with adults with autism, teens, not one day is the same. And I think that is so incredibly important for everybody to realize too, is that every day is there's a new challenge, there's something. And it is so incredibly important that you guys are making sure that everybody in the family holistically is taken care of. I don't think that's talked about enough.
Yeah, it's a great point, Danielle, and I'm glad you raised it. I think that that's at the core of not only Accolade, but how I think the DHA and the program was meant to be is um, the person with autism, the individual, that child or adult, as you said, we support folks from initial diagnosis as early as potentially 18 months, all the way through. We have some folks that are in adulthood that we still are there to make sure that they are supported throughout their lifespan. Um, but I had the opportunity to speak or hear a father kind of tell his story about his son and their family. And he talked about family, their autism being their family business. And he kind of expanded on that, saying, um, yes, they were there to make sure that as parents, they were there to support their son and his needs and therapies and the various things that, but it was also how did it affect him and his wife and their relationship? How did it affect their other children as they were spending a majority of their time
Yeah.
working with their son? But they had to make sure that their other children didn't feel isolated. How did their brother and sister feel they could support their brother with autism? So it's important that when you're looking at any individual, whether it's medical and in this case autism, how is this affecting the entire family? Because any illness in a family, as we all know, it affects everyone. Not one person is affected by that, but everyone is. So making sure that parents have those respite resources, making sure that there's other ways we can get back and forth. In the military, we have many parents that are deployed. So one single parent, how are you getting back and forth to speech, OT, ABA therapy, all the various things, school, and your other child's potential sports and whatever those things are? How are you doing that? Like, what are those barriers? What are those things you need? How can my team kind of identify those and then quickly find those for you and make sure that we can kind of smooth that out so that you as a parent and you as the entire family have all the resources you need across?
I want to shout this from the rooftop, and that a massive part of your population is military, and you are working to help military families. You just said it. One parent might be deployed, maybe both parents are deployed, and the kids are with the grandparents or whatever the situation might be. It's those types of situations where it is one parent in a household. It's incredibly important to make sure, like you were just laying it all out, that everybody's being taken care of, and that there is, like you said, transportation. That's a big thing Accolade has made part of their mission, is access to care. Do people have transportation? How close are doctors' offices? Making sure that it's in the provider search, all of these things. I think it's incredibly important, and I just want to shout those things on the rooftop again, because it's a massive, massive thing that you guys are doing.
I think that the other thing that I find unique, which is a little bit off topic, but who comprises our team, right? Like we talk about what we do, but who are the individuals that are helping to support this, the Autism Care Demonstration? The unique thing is a lot of our nurses, our coordinators, our non-clinical specialists are parents of children with autism, or they're also in the military or have been in the military. And they found us because they didn't have this resource when they were raising their children. And they're now, wow, let me join this team. Let me join this program. Let me give back. Let me make that next generation. Those parents have that resource I never did. And not only that, but they bring their unique perspective of being fathers and mothers of autistic children that have now successfully, they're in college, they're in the workforce, they've gone through the initial diagnosis and all the way through the journey, and we can kind of use that to not only kind of empower but show that this is not something that you should be sad about. There is something to be celebrated, and we can work together to make sure that we maximize your child's life and get them to be the best person that you want them to be.
I think when we think about healthcare too, we think about this very high, like just massive umbrella of something. But I think what you were just describing, Brian, is bringing healthcare down to a human level and making true connections there to make sure that people understand you're not alone. You're not the only people out there that are going through similar situations or whatever it may be. It's tough to think about healthcare and disconnect your mind from certain pictures that are painted today about healthcare.
I've always felt like as a nurse,
Yeah.
the best connections are the one-to-ones.
Yep.
As a nurse sitting at bedside before surgery, educating, or someone's about to go home, and what are those next steps in their journey? Um, that is the same thing that we're doing here. We're just doing it over the phone. We're not there with the person. It's technology is wonderful, and Lord knows Accolade has the cutting edge technology for healthcare, but we use that technology to enable our frontline care team, our autism navigators, our coordinators, our nurses to help those families, but do it at a personal level, right? So the technology is there in the background while we talk one to one. What do you need? How can I best support you? How's your day going?
Yeah.
And then take that, and then we use all of those powerful tools in our toolbox to then go and help support them.
Yes, absolutely. And while this has been, you taking us into the human side of things, people are probably sitting here going, Brian, we get all this. You're probably trying to sell us on all this, but what this incredible program? I just want to put a fine point on this and discuss, the outcomes that you guys have been able
Yeah,
to achieve, satisfaction, all of these things that you guys have been measuring towards to say this is truly how we're not just speaking to you guys. This is how the points we are truly hitting to make sure everybody's taken care of.
I think that the thing that we kind of focus on with each family, as we said, it's a very unique situation. The goal is the next call. The goal is the next issue. The goal is the next problem that they're going to face. What's the next step in their journey? So, as our team is talking with their families, it is the goal, the outcome is a question answered, is a barrier removed. Did we find that provider gap, and were we able to resolve that by finding someone for them to go see? Um, it's the small steps, it's the pennies on the plate, the day after day that really kind of takes away one more thing that a parent has to think about that can really help make the journey successful overall. Uh, but if I reflect back on what we've been doing over the past 3 years, I'm exceptionally proud to say with any offering, how is the downstream effect, whether it's clinical outcomes, but you mentioned beneficiary satisfaction. Um, we know that, for the members that we've been supporting over the past few years, we're at 99% beneficiary satisfaction, which I'm exceptionally proud of. Um, we know we can always do better. We strive for that every day. But we know that what we're doing for our beneficiaries and their family is making a difference in their comments, and we're certainly hoping that that continues in the future. And the other piece, Danielle, is really reduction in parent stress.
Yep.
Uh, Parenting stressful enough. As a parent myself, I know how stressful that can be. When you add in the complexities of a medical behavioral condition, uh, as well as serving our country and the certain things that come with that, it can lead to high levels of stress. What we try and do is remove that administrative burden, and we can see that by working with our families and kind of being there to be that point in the storm that they can always turn to, we're reducing those parent stresses by saying, hey, we're going to focus on this. You can go back and go be mom and dad. We're going to take care of that authorization in the background. And you can go back to, going to your therapies or going to that sports game or going to whatever it is that you wanted to do and be a family. So I think those are the two things that we're really focused on is, hey, not only our clinical outcomes, but, are our beneficiaries happy with the service we're providing? And are we making a difference in their lives by taking away some of those stressors that they face?
My last question for you, Brian, and I think probably the happiest and the most fun of all this is one, just the joy you take in supporting this population. If there's been a standout story for you or something that you've heard from this population that makes you say, yep, this is why I get up every single day to do this.
Yeah, this is the best question. I love it. I think with any job, career, you have to find something that you're passionate about. I grew up, my father was in the Army, my grandfather was in the Navy. Um, that made for some interesting conversations on a certain football game every year, but it also taught me an appreciation for all of the service that our men and women do for us every day. Um, and then what I was able to do is, as a nurse, I was able to take that clinical expertise and then apply it back to our military men and women, and it really felt fulfilling to me. So that right off the bat gets me excited. It feels, I don't need coffee in the morning. I can just get up and know that that's what I get to do. But when I think about the unique population that we serve in the autism care demonstration, it's the stories, Danielle. It's, not one individual, because you said there's so many unique stories that we've had over these past 3 years, but it's hearing the families and the tone in their voice when they first joined the program. There's a mix of emotions. There's, the parents are like, "Hey, let's go get this." There's some parents that are scared and they're afraid, or they're, not sure
Yeah.
what the next step is, and that uncertainty. Um, and then to follow that journey and to see that that child is getting into the therapy that they need, and they're getting into their resources, and they're getting out to do things that they've never done before. And then to meet them in these medical team conferences, we pull together all the providers that are supporting this one child along with mom, along with that child. And our nurse is on there, and we're all having a conversation. And we're talking about the progress that they're making and the goals that they've achieved and what's that next step for them. And that is such an incredible thing that I don't think happens a lot in medicine today, is who has the time to pull all these providers together. This team does that on a daily basis. And we get to kind of see and touch and feel where sometimes you don't get to all of that progress. So it's the stories of progress. It's the stories of, families that feel like they had a place to turn to. And it's also celebrating when mom says, I got this now. I understand it. Like, I know exactly what I need to do. I know what the next steps are, and I don't need you guys. Like, you've taught me.
Yeah.
That's that education and empowerment that is the best thing for me, and I think that's what gives me joy every day.
I love it. I love it. I think these are the stories that make it so worthwhile what you're doing, and like you said, you may not need coffee in the morning, but I think it makes it so worth it.
It's certainly an endeavor that I am certainly proud to be a part of, and hope to continue this for years to come.
I love it. I love it. Brian, I can't thank you enough for joining me for this episode and kicking off Autism Awareness Month and this incredible program that you guys are working and being part of and helping this population. It's incredible, and I can't wait to see what you guys do in the next few years and what that looks like.
Thank you, Danielle. Much appreciated. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
But as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.